Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that like button as you come in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to The Real Precious. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you hit the thumbs up on the way in, but if you didn't, you still got time. You still got time. But welcome, welcome, welcome back to The Real Precious. It is Monday evening, which means it's Mixed Message Monday with the men's panel. You know how the guys do, they trickle in. You know, the guys that be coming in on this live, they be working. They be working elsewhere. So they come in when they come in. Of course, I'm gonna drop the link. But we have a jam-packed show this evening. And so we're gonna get started. My co-host, the actual King Smith, how are you, sir?
Hey, salute to you, the real precious. I see we got some people in the comments already, and I want to give a shout out to fellow free agent Quincy Frierson. He's in the building tonight, man. I appreciate you
Okay.
popping in, brother.
Welcome, 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 Quincy. I call him Q. I don't even say the whole name. Hey Q, how you doing? Lotus, good evening, good evening. And of course, Tarika is in the building. Everyone, please hit that thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up. But how are you, King?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I have a busy next couple of weeks set up here. Going to the beach this weekend. We got a holiday in the US coming up in which we remember those who have given their life and service to our nation.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
but I have a lot coming up and I'm looking forward to everything, spending some time with loved ones and relaxing once I get things kind of knocked out here over the next couple of weeks.
I hear that. That sounds like it's going to be a relaxing weekend.
Yes, ma'am.
And we spoke about this weekend, so I hope you have fun. I actually have my brother in town from Germany. He also serves this country, so thank you to all who serve the country. I have a host of family members, friends. So thank you so much. So he's in town. Prayers up to my mom. She hasn't been feeling too good. She's been having some health issues. So you guys, please say some prayers for her. So we've been having some family time and enjoying each other. So you guys definitely enjoy your weekend. And I can't wait to hear about it because I know you probably going to be doing some blogging and us social media content creators. Where it's content somewhere, somehow, some way, right? So
Yeah, yep. There's that balance of, creating content that you choose to share with people and also being in the moment. I've been doing this enough that, in my opinion, I found that right balance, and
mhm,
the people around me know that. So they know,
right.
hey, when I'm present, I'm present. When I need to get some content as a content creator, then that's what I'm going to be doing.
Right, right, right. I hear that. Well, thank the Lord for balance. Thank the Lord for balance.
No doubt.
All right, so we're going to do a little icebreaker here. I saw this video and I wanted to show it because the question is, did she go too far? So I'm going to add it to the stream here.
Hey, I'm gonna do something.
Oh,
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm dual casting on my channel as well, and I'm gonna be doing polls and things, trying to get that engagement up. So step
okay.
your streaming game up, Precious.
Money, money. You put me on the spot. You put me on the spot. I got you. I got you. I got you.
Okay, I'm joking. It's
No,
a joke. Yep.
I know you're joking.
Yeah,
You think I don't know that? I know that.
That's so beautiful.
No, I'm over you. Okay?
I was joking. I'm sorry. Look,
Friends are right. Like, maybe I should actually be with Mark. He's like a million times the man you'll ever be. He's so nice to me. He's so kind.
guy at work.
So caring. And he remembers things.
What am I hearing
like
right now?
our anniversary.
No,
Yet
okay.
my own husband has to pretend that he doesn't remember. Brings
Okay.
me flowers today. What
I
do
brought
you
you
do?
flowers. What are you saying? I'm sorry. I thought it would be funny. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I didn't want to ignore you. It's just I couldn't just say happy anniversary and then I don't know why I thought it would be good. I'm sorry, babe. Can you just know?
I'm done.
Can you cancel the Uber, please? Oi, don't look at me like that. I am mature. I do care about you.
I'm gonna stop it there because she just consoles him and then the music plays. I might already get flagged for this, but do you guys think that she took it too far? King, do you think she took the prank too far? He was pranking her, acting like he forgot about their anniversary.
Oh man, I like a good prank. But yes, you can absolutely take things too far. Look, people make irrational, dumb decisions based off of emotions. And when you prank and play on somebody's emotions, you might F around and find out that there's something going on that either you didn't like or there's going to be an outcome that occurs based on that person's feelings, and something changes in the relationship that you're not going to be ready to deal with. I think with what just got shared, it's my understanding that this couple, they share their lives on social media and they do different prank wars and stuff against each other. But there's some stuff, in my opinion, you shouldn't prank with, and emotional pranks are one of them.
Right, because they always say there is a little bit of truth in jokes or joking.
Hmm.
And like you said, you shouldn't play on people on especially your spouse, your significant other, their emotional strings. And you also touched on bouncing back from that. It's like I noticed like we are living in a day and age where people will do any and everything for some clicks and some likes to pay their bills. No one is it's like the old school way of working is going out the door. It is slowly. I mean, we're still gonna need, our construction workers and stuff like that, but you don't see them on social media pranking their loved ones because they're out working hard for their loved ones. Yet in today's society, young people are using social media as a source of income. So much so that they're doing pranks like this. These pranks, you TikTok has had such an influence that people are going to their schools and doing these pranks and getting in trouble and being reprimanded because they starting some trend that they saw on TikTok.
Hmm.
So it's like when you do a prank like that, it's like, yes, you're going to get the comments. Yes, you're going to get the clicks. Yes, you're going to get all of that. but how do you separate you from what you do?
Exactly.
You know, like how much, where's, my heart posture couldn't even, it would be off all night. Like, like, baby, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. It's like, how do you bounce back from that? Or how do you separate the pranking from the actual living and having to, maneuver throughout your relationship? Because if they do this for money or they do this for a living, this is all they do. So I don't know. Certain things is just like I'm just not doing it for the clicks and the likes and the analytics.
Yeah,
Because
no.
how do it's too close to, real life, because it is supplementing your real life. So it becomes who
Exactly.
you are. It becomes robotic to you.
And then kind of like that old saying, when you cry long enough, eventually people aren't going to believe you. So when it comes time for something to get real, hey, I'm gonna need for you to be real right now. Hey, I'm gonna need for you to be in this moment right now. I don't need a prank. Can you get to where you can expect that other person to reset and get on that same field that you need them to be on?
Right.
I shouldn't have to wonder, hey, is this a prank or not? I ain't doing that. I ain't got the brain cells for it. I ain't got
Right.
time for it.
Because honestly, and I don't know when Dr. Nakumbe is coming up, but I believe that sometimes when you're pranking or joking, it can come off as passive aggressiveness.
Mhm.
And I was in a relationship like that. Everything was like a joke, but it was like serious. And it was like, okay, I know you're joking about this, but what you're saying is serious. Like, it's not a prank, ain't no cameras around. Like, maybe, there's something that you may want to get off your chest. Why don't we just simply talk about it instead of it being a joke? Because if it's a joke, it's like a ha ha, brush it off. We don't have to address it.
Mhm.
But when you start doing that a lot, like you said, it's like when things hit the fan or when you need to have a real moment, can you snap out of that, or is it just a part of a coping mechanism? Is it a part of how you're used to dealing with conflict, with joking? Like Will Smith said that he, dealt with his emotions by making everybody laugh. So when anger comes out, it's uncontrollable because you're not really getting to the root of why you're using one behavior to cover up another.
That makes sense.
So I just wanted to show that as an icebreaker, because yeah, the clicks and all that is nice, but it can become damaging. It really can become damaging. And when people see stuff like that, it's the people that know them is like, oh, look, they don't know them. But who really knows them? Mhm. Do their friends
Yep.
really know them? Are
Yep.
they in the bed 3 a.m. in the morning?
Hey,
When it was like, oh, you went too far today.
a prank like what you just showed is similar to, there was one that I saw of somebody that was like pretending like they were having sex with somebody in the bed in the house, and it ended up being like a blow up doll, and they wanted to see their significant other's reaction, and they filmed it. And I'm like, yo, you have no idea what mindset that lady could have came in from, where she had a crappy day, and then now she come home and she seeing you, looking like you humping something, and then she don't say nothing, she don't make no reaction, she go and get the blicky and then come in and just spray, all because
Mm,
you want to play and prank around like that. Like I said, i'm
right.
all i'm all for a good prank, but there's levels to pranking, and when you're messing around with certain things or people's emotions, that's when I think that you can take it too far.
I'm actually going to drop the link now, guys. So you can come up. I realized I didn't drop it. I'm talking about Dr. Nakumbe coming up. How he gonna come up?
And he ain't got no link.
He ain't got no link. He ain't got no link. Alrighty. So I'm dropping it now. If anybody wants to come up, we're gonna roll into if nobody comes up, we're gonna roll into our mixed message portion. King and I used to do this at the very beginning of this segment that I named mixed messages. I'm trying to pin it, y'all. Y'all know it always gives me an issue with pinning it. There we go. And so I saw some messages and I was like, let's take it back to mixed messages before we get into the serious videos that we have. So I dropped the link. If anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome. I do have to see your face in the back chat. Other than that, you're welcome. And if you guys haven't, definitely hit that like button. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's free to be here. It's free to be here. Okay, that's all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up. But we're gonna get to the messages after Dr. Nakumbe because I'm sure he wants to speak on the prank that we just played. How are you, Dr. Nakumbe?
I'm well. Good evening. Thanks for your patience. Glad to see everyone. The actual King, Precious, and Sean. Good afternoon or evening. And hello to those in the chat. Sorry, I couldn't say hello to each one of you, but greetings, everyone. Yeah, that video, prank for. So let me preference this. I am a jokester and a comedian. So let me start with that. A couple of things to consider. When you're in these relationships, it doesn't take too long to know if you're dating a prankster or a comedian. And this is why I agree with you, the real Precious, that I know that comedic side of you. I mean, like if you're whoever your person is, like you would know that comedic side of them. You know some of the areas that they may be jokey with or like kind of their go-to humor. But when it's left with that big question mark of, was that a joke? And when it's outside the realm of their, I mean, some people, it can be in the realm of their humor, but when it's more personal, when it seems like a jab, really, or it seems like they just wanted my reaction so they can really take me somewhere else and kind of mind screw me. I think that takes it to another level. The clicks and all that, yes, definitely the new thing now. And in fact, it's funny because I've been asking couples willing to hire them to do some of these things where I comment. I want to do commentary, and I can do my own one-man acting type thing, but I actually want couples. I want to bust some of the myths about love and all that. But it's interesting how people are doing it for the clicks, for the likes. It's almost like when FB first came out and everyone wanted a like, or they were sad and depressed if they didn't. There are couples who are so deep into this with the competition. And then the pranks, usually they start out, from my understanding, they actually start out as scripted. Like, hey, let's, I know you do this and you do that. But then there's this one up each other. And some people like who have addiction issues and they don't realize if they start drinking coffee, they might easily get addicted. There's some people start doing these pranks and they get into the excitement, the thrill, the fun of it, where they lost sight of the let's create something together to get likes. They actually lost sight of that. And they've gotten into the psychology part of it, of actually doing capturing the real thing. Because you acted that out. I want to see how you act for real, like a real kind of, and then it goes too far. And then there's the healing part, the recovery part of the relationship. And again, because now it was a we, now it's a you, and you're putting this on YouTube or wherever, you embarrass me. So there's a lot more psychological kind of conditioning taking people there than people realize, because they only went into it for the fun and for the money, but they got hooked as if it were an addiction.
Well, we'll keep that in mind. The jokester, Dr. Nakumbe, he gonna be telling all types of jokes now. No, but you do tell jokes when you're delivering. So that is a part of your personality. But you're right. I think when you said that, like addictive personality or addictive traits, that you can become addicted to doing it, and then the real thing actually plays out.
Right. Because it's the chemical rush. I mean, it's a dopamine rush in your brain when you do it for fun, and it's the same dopamine rush when you do it kind of at a sinister. Right. But when people are starting to insult your intelligence, I mean, there's a fine line between gaslighting someone and being funny. There's a fine line between testing someone and attempting to be funny. So
Right.
people have to be careful.
Yeah. Sean, how are you this evening?
I am doing well. What about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to
Hello
have
to
you here.
everybody. Thanks for having
Great.
me. Thanks for having me. Hmm. Well, I think that yeah, pranks, as Dr. Kumbe just said, can definitely go in the wrong direction. And I'm guilty of it myself.
Ooh.
Because I enjoy having fun and I enjoy laughing, but everybody that I enjoy laughing with doesn't always enjoy my jokes.
Mm,
And I have to be mindful of that because sometimes they can be somewhat cynical and or dark, so to speak. But I'm just playing. But I kind of try and feel the person out before I go into that space. But I will say in my relationships, there were times where I wasn't as sensitive to their feelings while
mm,
I'm playing,
mm,
or I would be sarcastic, a sarcastic asshole. And I use the second portion of that deliberately because it wasn't my intent, but in reflection, I was guilty of it,
mm,
and I wound up being somewhat of an a-hole with some of my sarcasm and or jokes. And so to the point that was made earlier, we have to be a little mindful of it because sometimes it is addictive. Sometimes it is passive aggressive, as you said. And sometimes it is just humor and somebody's sensitive about it. But in any of those cases, somebody is sensitive about it and someone's taking offense to it. So unless I'm a comedian getting paid for it, I should be mindful that
yeah.
this is it, this
They
is not
say,
something.
what's that saying? Sticks and stones won't break my don't what is it again? Sticks and stones won't break
Sticks
my
and stones can break your bones, but names will never hurt me.
there you
But
go.
words will never hurt me.
Right.
And that's a great concept, but far from a reality when we're being grown
Right.
and when we're being mature
Oh
about it.
man, you know what? It's kind of funny hearing that saying now that I'm a little bit older. I think that that saying's gone and it's out the window because I saw something the other day. I saw this dude. He looked like he could have played football at least at a college level. 6'4", 260 solid, right? Neck like a football player. His lady, girlfriend, wife, don't know what she was to him, was in his face screaming at him about something. I can't believe that I forgot this. And it looked like her words was cutting that guy down. And I'm sitting here like, she looking like she ready to squab up on this dude. And I'm like, he could hit her with his pinky and knock her down in one foul, swoop. But yet her words, because he don't want to put his hands on her,
Right.
yet her words was cutting this dude down. And I looked at it and I just kind of shook my head and I'm like, we are living in interesting times. And I
Yeah.
I just kept it moving.
Yeah.
But
I
but
saw a
that
video. Hmm.
I'm sorry, but that lends to what Precious was talking about. Her, the one you're talking about, the real king. I'm willing to bet her weapon, if he can, he's big enough to knock her down with a pinky. How does she ever really get to vent? How does she ever really? So her tongue can become just a slice and dice blade, and can still kind of tuck that under just messing with you or whatever. But that's like the pain, all the stuff that I feel or worry about or stressed about, I can take it out on words to you. And do you guys know where the original Sticks and Stones came from? That comment?
Sound like a Shakespeare play.
No, but
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Now,
no.
I'm not real religious, but supposedly, from what I heard, it goes way back to I don't want to say the garden, but something about Eve and all this stuff. And they invited them to go and whatever. And they were saying, you can do whatever you want to me, just don't beat me. But
Mm,
what they found out later, and people don't really talk about it in psychology, they tell us that's actually the worst statement in the world. That's not true. Sticks and stones might break your bones, but words are the most scarring because they tap into your belief system.
mhm,
They tap into your emotions. They tap into your emotions. They tap into your mental health. They tap into words are worse than a beating. In fact, I don't
right.
know if any of you in the chat Have you ever had like a fight with someone and then you became best friends, and the emotional connection was even stronger than the fight? Like
Mm.
wow, man, yeah, it was a crazy fight, man. Like wow, but the emotional connection was more important than the fight. You even forget about the fight. Or have you ever been beat for a cause, so to speak? Beat for a cause. I've even said it. My mama, can't no one beat me like my mama did. Now it may still hurt, but no one can beat. So again, emotional is always going to take longer to heal than physical.
Yeah.
Interesting you say that, doctor, because I'm curious to know, is that a psychological thing? How do we combat that?
The how do we combat the what? The what part?
Uh, for lack of better words, being sensitive to words.
Oh, yep. Find out where it ties to. You know, a balloon on the string. You know, if you cut the string, it'll go. You know, helium balloon. Find out what the weight is. The emotion is the balloon. Find out what the weight that anchors that down. If you follow that string down to the anchor, you'll find out why it bothers you so much. You know, our Chris Rock and Jada and those guys. Um, so the so I do what's called psychological autopsies. So a team of us kind of trying to figure out like why that person does what they do, who are they going to become in the future. So with these three, Jada came from a history of her dad leaving them. And he said, "I can't be with your mama." And she was like, "Please do stay." He was using drugs. She begged him to stay and fight for her. What about us, your kids? He didn't do
Yeah.
it. So all her life, she wanted a man that would fight for her.
Mm.
Chris was abused and was harassed, bullied so bad. One day he went home, got a bag filled with bricks, went to school, beat the people so bloody, it scared him. It scared him. He promised himself he would never attack anyone in the beginning because he doesn't know what he's liable to do. He gets so angry. He blacks out. He gets so angry. And then Will grew up in a home watching his mom be abused. And what did he make that childhood promise? What did he make to himself? He'll never let another woman get hurt in his presence. And then when Jada was with Tupac friends or whatever they were doing, but he felt intimidated by Tupac, so that was another kind of mental note of use a bit another mental note. So now I'm at the celebration. This guy makes a joke. I'm laughing. I look over at my wife. I get triggered. That string is weighted by my belief that I'm not going to be another punk. You got me messed up. So the weight, why I went from humor to serious and emotions, is tied into the belief if I don't respond, I'm a punk. For her, why was that not so funny? And then why was it so celebrating to see her man? That string, if you follow that string, is so celebrating because a man who fought for me, unlike my dad, a man who, so that string goes to the fact that her man fought for her. That's why she can smile after he slapped her and he came back and she was just, that's that string. And then for Chris, how could someone get slapped like that and not respond? So if you watch that, I've only watched Chris Rock stumble in his presentation twice in his career, in my viewing of his career. I've only seen him stumble twice at the Oscars. Right after that slap, and then he did the introduction to the next thing, and then he said, "We're going to introduce a prize." So he stumbled because he was still in shock. And then when he did the last Netflix thing, when he was talking about them, he fumbled on that
Mm-hmm.
last joke.
Yeah,
Those
on
are
his
only two
joke.
times I've seen. I'm sure he's made mistakes
Mm.
before, but that mental. So anyway, that was a long answer, but tie that string to the weight where the original thing that impacts the person.
Hmm.
That's some good stuff. Good advice. You know, out here on these social media streets, whoo, it's going on rampant what we was just speaking about. Because there's a lot of people using words. I was listening to somebody last week, and a lady was talking about, I don't consider what you do as a man, so I'm just gonna call you a boy. And she's boy, boy, boy in these men. And then when they started calling her out or over talking her, oh, you need to respect me. Don't talk to me like that. And I'm like, I'm sitting there listening, like, You just called that man a boy because of you didn't agree with his view. And he brought it to your attention and you stood proud for it and said, I'm gonna keep calling you that. That's just what I believe in, and you just gonna have to handle it. Now, in reverse, if he felt that that was just his belief that women that act like you, he wanted to call out of their name, let's say the B word or whatever, then you want to take offense, and that offense needs to be acknowledged significantly. And that's what's going on out here in these streets. And I don't know if I went into another direction, but it's just funny that it's happening predominantly and it continues to happen, and it's the cycle continues.
Um, I think that there are ways that you speak to people. I think that people do catch offense easily when they haven't healed. So anything that anyone can say, they'll catch it as if someone threw them a ball, and they'll consume it. And that energy from what they heard from whomever they heard it from is that weight, I believe, that Dr. Nakambe is talking about. You can see the weight of people all throughout these YouTube streets. Y'all always hear me say I like to travel light. I always say that. I like to travel lightly, which means whatever you're trying to say towards me is bouncing off. I don't receive that in Jesus' name. Okay, I don't. Return back to sender. You can go back from whence you came, because I don't receive it. So I think a lot of people receive things that they haven't healed from, or it hit a pain point within them that they need to go back and do their shadow work or their background work and not get mad at people that are through a screen, like in another state, another time zone. To me, it makes no sense whatsoever, but it happens. And like I said, I think those are the weights that I personally can see when I am on the panels and when I interact in these conversations. You could just see some things hit people in a certain way where it's just like, you may still be hurt about that, but at this point you can't even communicate about it. Or if someone has an opposing view about what you're still healing from, it shows that you're still, going through that, because you can't really put into words how you feel about it, or you can't really have a civil conversation with someone who doesn't think like you. But that's what I
And some
see.
people, some people are so unaware, like it hits them. When I talk about that stimuli, 2 p.m. stimuli versus 2 a.m. stimuli, or in seasons, was the first time you've witnessed your parent be weak or fragile. You had never seen that before. Like, whoa, like that just, and for anyone listening, I think that's an awesome sign for you. When it hits you like, whoa, I didn't even think it would bother me like that. Take note. Let me give you an example. So for those of you know about my sisters, my story of my sisters. So I feel like I got robbed of being big brother. And then because mom said what happens at home stays at home, never get help, because the white people will come in your home and take the kids away. And when she tried to drown them and I found her and I stopped it and I reported it, and then boom, we got split up for 42 years. So I feel robbed, and I also felt like I messed everything up. So here I am years later, right, with all this knowledge and cursed with all this knowledge. But then I'll watch one of these other networks and they'll lay in on females. You all women are stupid and all, and then I'll watch some people be fragile, and I'm like, what? And I could feel like, and it's not like a cape, like I'm gonna save them to be my woman, but it was almost as if they were attacking my sister. Like, whoa! And I'm getting worked up, like, just, just
I'm working.
yeah, and I can't touch it right there on the screen. And then I add one little word in there, but the text is flowing. So no matter if I say, hey, and then, but what's that tied to? If you follow the string, some will say, oh, it must be about your sisters. But there's also an element of not feeling heard. Not feeling heard. Because if I go back to my 6-year-old self calling the police and they came out and said, "What's going on?" Went in the bedroom with my mom, came out zipping up the zipper, adjusting their belt, and shoved me on the head and said, "Be a good kid." Now I didn't know then what was going on. Now I know, but I didn't feel hurt. So you have to imagine I have 30, 40, 50 years of not feeling hurt, or a long history. So what we see in that one joke, that one prank, or right now in the moment, don't underestimate how long that's been going on for someone in the background. And then the real pressure is if I use humor as a way to like to try to get with you or to get at you, or when you're like, yeah, that stuff doesn't even like over my head. For a person who doesn't feel heard, that's when they flip the script. Well, fuck you, and that's when they act like you're the bad person, like you were the evil one because you didn't accept their humor, or you didn't play along. And it's like calling a person the B word after they didn't let you get their phone number.
Right.
So, all right, I'm talkative. Sorry.
You're good. All right, we're going to transition into mixed messages. There's a few messages that I came across. Like I said, King and I used to do this in the beginning of this segment, Mixed Message Mondays. So we're going to put the messages, I told y'all I'm blind. I got to get them close. I'm going to put the messages up here for y'all to read. But I'm going to get them up here as well. And so what me and King are going to do is we're going to read them back and forth, and then we will talk about the mixed message at the end. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to start. Wait. Am I starting? Hold on. All righty.
I'm green. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting. Okay. So yeah, you play too much.
I like to make you laugh.
It's working. Where are we going later?
Where you want to go, baby?
Ruth Chris is 20 minutes from me. Can we go there?
Yeah, we can. Send me the Addy, and I'm picking you up, though.
No love. I can meet you there. When we going, it's 2 now.
What's the Addy?
The one off Beaver.
I bet. I reserved the table for 4:15. That cool?
Yes. I'm starting to get ready now.
Hey, but look though, what we doing after? I'm off tomorrow and I'm back to work on Tuesday.
Me too. We can eat, then you can come over to my condo if you're down.
Hell yeah, I'm down. All right, then. I'll be at the restaurant at 4, baby.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'm almost here. I know I'm early because I'm thirsty.
Almost there too.
Okay. Hey, here, call me when you get here, though.
Okay, 8 more minutes.
Okay. Hey, you good? You in the restroom? I got the cheesecakes to go. You all right in there?
Thanks for the meal. I'm sorry, but you're not my type. I left out.
What? You already left? That's foul. Why ain't you say nothing? Before this? Before this to date, why you playing?
I'm not, and I don't have to explain myself. Thanks for the couple of dates. I'm not feeling you like that. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Wow, bitch. You play me. I can take a loss. F you two then, ho.
Enjoy the bill and cheesecakes.
I had to throw a couple of ad libs in there.
Wow. So, mixed messages. What were the mixed messages in that you guys saw or heard?
I didn't see any mixed messages. It was very clear. She was a gold digger who wanted a meal. He provided it, who wanted some ass, and she got the better of the deal.
Okay, so there was no mixed message in there for you whatsoever.
Straight to the point. Oh, man. The mixed message would have been maybe if she took him to the crib and then acted, the same way. But she did it right after the meal. She dipped. She said what she felt. You ain't my type. Thanks for the day. I mean, it was very clear. She
So
used
that
them.
so this wasn't the first date that they went on. I believe it's like the second. I think that one message
Mm,
was like, I
right.
think he worded it weird. So after a couple of dates, you figure out that he's not your type and you leave him at the restaurant. So Hank is here. You know how Hank always be like, leave that heifer at the restaurant. Yeah, he
Oh
came at the right
man.
time. He came
Hey,
at the
you
right
came
time.
right
Yeah, he
over there,
did.
right at the right time.
Yeah,
He
he
came at the
did.
right time because Hank is always like, leave that heifer at the restaurant. Now she done left him at the restaurant. Like with the picture of the Ruth Chris.
Yeah, that's the part that
Uh,
had me cracking up. She done took a picture of the whole outside. Like she done walked out. All right, told him, hey, I'm about to go use the restroom. Look, if you go use the restroom and they take their purse, well, you know, I guess you'd have to take the purse. You don't want nobody rifling through it. You're gonna have to leave something to let me know you ain't about to skip out on this meal. Nah, leave them keys right over there, babe. Hey, I'm gonna need that cell phone right here. I don't know
Ooh.
your password, so you
So,
good. You
see,
go ahead
so
and
the
go to the
way
restroom, but you're gonna leave that cell phone right here.
yeah, because
Wow.
I think cell phones at the table while you're on a date is rude anyway. So I think you both should put it in a central location where it's just like, all right, we're not gonna touch that. But I mean that could be a way of forcing somebody to stay so they not running out on you. Um
Man. I'm glad I've never had that happen. I don't know if anybody on the panel has. I've walked out on somebody because I've got a standing 15-minute rule. Now, if you let me know beforehand, hey, I'm running a little bit behind, cool. But somebody who I was meeting up with didn't let me know that they were going to be late. At minute 16, I got up and started walking out, past each other on the way to the car. And I said, hey, I'm gone. My time is way more valuable. And she said, fuck you too, then, you short bastard.
oh,
Is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yep. I am quoting what she said to me.
dang, dang.
Not the sh- not
Well,
Wow.
the
you
short
dodged the
bastard.
bullet. You dodged the bullet.
Hey, that told me right there. I dodged a whole bullet and a half. And I thought nothing like it. Plus, she didn't look like her pictures anyway.
Ooh,
That's hilarious.
it just makes me wonder like how many times guys are getting swindled out of going out or taking a woman out. And that's why we always say on YouTube or wherever, I'll say it wherever, you need to have those coffee dates. You need to have those let's go for a walk in the park, because if you leave the park, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You want to go off on another trail, that's good. You need to talk to yourself, go ahead. But when you're at Roof Chris and she done ordered everything's a la carte at Ruth Chris. So she done ordered the lobster mac and cheese. She done ordered the filet. She done ordered the shrimp
Well,
scampi. You
again, the
know,
reason why I said it wasn't no mixed signals, because player, if you taking her to roof quit on a second date, then and you don't, and she already telling you she don't want to give you the addy, you at fault. You should peep that ahead of time.
Mm.
well, some women do just drive to the place just for safety. Now she
But
did
roof
ask him
quit.
to come
Right.
to her home afterwards. Is that the Addy you talking about? Like that address? Because
Well,
she didn't
didn't
want to ride with them.
well didn't she say I'm not gonna tell you the addy, or wasn't she in the beginning talking about I'm not giving you the addy because he asked for the addy, he had to ask twice.
See, I thought she was talking about Ruth Chris because she said the one on Cleveland or something like that. The one on Beaver.
Yeah,
So
so at first he said, yeah, I can pick you up, send me the addy. Then she said, no, I can meet you there. And then I'm going to assume that second was the addy was for the Roos Chris location. But the first one was definitely him trying to pick her up. But
But
right,
but
then,
right,
didn't he say didn't he ask her where, didn't she suggest Ruth Chris?
right. And then she said the one on Cleveland or something, one on Beaver. He
Right.
he
So the addy came twice before any of that Ruth Chris.
yeah, but the first one was about picking her up
her
from
house.
her place.
Yeah.
Right. And then she joked and he was like, nah, send me the Addy. And then she said, I mean, I can't see what y'all reading. I'm only going
Oh,
on what I heard.
yeah. He asked for the address to the restaurant, and she was like, "Oh, the one on
Oh,
Beaver or
okay.
whatever." But she did, or did he ask, or she asked, "What are you doing after?"
Yeah,
And she said,
he
"You can
asked.
come over
Yep.
to my condo if you're down." So she lured him pretty much
Right.
into, you know, giving her a free meal. So that's where the Mex. See, this is where I thought y'all would have got that
No,
as
I
men.
mean, you're right. We did get it. I was joking when I said there was no mixed messages, but it was clear that she was playing them.
Oh
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she
he could
lured
have picked
him.
up on that. Yeah, he could have picked up on that just in the way we just did.
Mhm.
And like I said, unless you're rich, and maybe I'm just not rich yet, but I feel even if I was rich, Ruth Chris just would not be that suggestion. When you said no Addy, I'd have been no Ruth Chris. That's just been
No
real
Addy,
simple.
no Ruth Chris.
Yeah. How about Cheesecake Factory? You know, it just would have been something
That's
different.
still a good restaurant. That's still a good
Right.
restaurant though.
But it's not Ruth Chris. Big difference.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think the Cheesecake Factory is a nice restaurant, but that's just me. They
But
got
It,
a
it's
scratch kitchen.
nice.
Look, I've worked in kitchen. I've worked in food service before. So to me, Ruth Chris has a scratch kitchen, which means they, everything ain't from scratch, but everything ain't coming out the bag either. So we could go to we could definitely go to I don't know. I don't know why women
Fridays.
look, we go to Fridays too. I don't know why women put such a
emphasis.
stipulation on the restaurant. I
Hey,
really
hey,
don't.
hey, Precious, Precious. All right, I gotta ask you, what's your thoughts on Waffle House?
I'll definitely go to look. I'm a foodie. Shit, I'll go anywhere. Okay, I'm a foodie. I like to eat. I'm not gonna be like, no, unless it's well, Waffle House close to dirty. Look, I was gonna say, unless it's dirty, Waffle House be close to dirty. But I'm not really one of those that's like, oh no, I'm not like that. So, but I think the restaurants that you were naming, Sean, were fine. But hey, I guess
Well,
I
I'm
just
just
different.
talking about the investment that we're making.
Right.
You know, Ruth, you're making at least a $300 investment at Ruth Chris for two people. At Cheesecake, 150 maybe. If you're eating and drinking. I'm not talking about drink.
Uh-oh.
That's just meal at Ruth.
Hmm.
But at the Cheesecake Factory, you could get the meal and the drinks and be under 200. You know, and that's festive drinks. Yeah, you know, that's appetizers.
That's about two
Ruth,
rounds.
right? Ruth, nah. You coming out 500 easy with rounds.
All flats. Ranch,
I knew what you was about to
buffalo.
say. I
Let's
knew
get it
you look like an all flats too.
all flats. Okay.
We've talked about this before.
Wings and
Yeah.
fries, what? Any day of the week. All right. Yes.
Now it could be because I'm older, but like older in my mind, like where I see things. But, is both of them are kind of have this emotional thing where some people call the guy a simp. Like, why would he do that? Why would he? Well, my question is, what's the goal? If he's only trying to get some ass and he brings her there, expecting that that's going to show her some type of value. But then the flip side of that is, why would any woman pick these high priced restaurants? And if you choose otherwise, then why does that reflect who you are or what value? I mean, why do I have to match that for you to feel value? And then I think anytime you're dating, again, this is the newer, older me, but anytime you're dating, that all comes with the risk that people can bail out. So the investment, I mean, at what point do you really put in the investment? At what point are you learning about the person? At what point are you just investigating, kind of putting it together? I like even when Hink says, putting some tests out there and kind of learning about the person, seeing how they would respond. But if you're putting up your best, and a lot of guys get caught in that trap, putting up their best and they can't sustain it. They can't sustain it. Ruth Chris is only 1 or 2 times. After that, I got to pay rent, for the people who really don't have that type of money. Or the next time I don't eat and just watch you eat while I drink some water. But, what's that about that I need to satisfy your belief that this is value?
Facts. I'm getting the whiskey ribs from Friday, y'all. That's what I'm getting from Friday.
Yes,
They be hitting, they be on
yeah.
point. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'll definitely do a sandwich and a picnic in the park as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm not hard
Wow.
to please. I'm really not hard to please.
Doc just said something pretty interesting that I wanted to. You
My
said
bad, my foodie ass. I'm sorry.
you said to determine what it was and getting to know somebody versus, you didn't say this word, but I'm gonna put it in there, investing into that person. And again, in fairness to the lady, he probably was showing off. Yeah, baby, I got this and that. And she probably was like, all right. Just in the way that the initial text went. He's like, yeah, baby. She knows his intentions. He think he's one up on her. Oh, I'll take you to Ruth wherever you want to go, baby. I got that. So she throw out something that might be a little bit pricey to see where his head is. And he's like, yo, whatever. All right, cool. She continues to bait him in, but it probably had a lot to do with their prior encounters and conversation. Because a lot of times men be out here tricking, especially if they're from Harlem. No, I'm just
Hey, I've said it on this channel once before. Shout out to YouTuber Coach Greg Adams. He said this one thing that when he put it together, it just made sense. Guard your meat, your money, energy, attention, and time. And this guy on this date with this one lady, he jacked up all 4 of those quadrants with his meat, his money, his energy, his attention, and his time for somebody that, I'm not saying that there's a payoff required, but when the hoodwink was there from the beginning, as it's shown in these mixed messages from her, this guy lost all his meat with her, pause, and needed to people need to, I'm not just going to say men, I'm going to say people. Everybody needs to make sure that they're guarding their meat. Again, a shout out to Coach Greg Adams on that. Money, energy, attention, and time.
All right,
I like
Mr.
that.
Hank.
Yeah, I like that.
You usually tell the fellas to lead a woman at the restaurant. How you feel about this woman leaving this man at the restaurant?
She got in before he could have got her. I mean, he got played for food, and so be it. I look at it. I don't have no problem with whoever. Just because I say I'm leaving at the restaurant, don't mean it's just a man only thing. A woman can leave a man at the restaurant too. So I don't know what that situation. I mean, I don't know if I would have just on a second date would have took her to Ruth Chris. I don't know. Depends on the type of conversations we had prior to going out with her. What was the first date? Was the first date a coffee date, or was the first date, maybe something similar to Ruth Chris? I don't know.
But also, can't be real. Guys are going, well, like, how fine is she? You know what I'm saying? That fineness factor plays into how far a man's is willing to go.
Well, for if you a dude who never had a nice looking woman, yeah, I agree with that. But if you had nice looking woman before, that shouldn't even be a factor.
There you go. All right.
I mean, if I'm gonna be there at a restaurant with her, you got to have some type of conversation. Because it's gonna take some time before you get your food right. We talk about it depends on how crowded it is. It could be 20 minutes before you get your food. So now you're just gonna, snack on appetizer. My appetizer ain't gonna last long. You might use that time while you eat appetizer, trying to maybe think of something to say or something witty to say, or maybe a good joke, that was cleaning up and not too I guess dirty or inappropriate for the moment. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to come up with things to say or what to do in the situation. You don't want to be one of those dudes where you look like you everything you saying is all planned out. Now you looking lame. Sometimes you got to know how to say certain things off the cuff, and so it depends on the dude. Like I said, if he falls for just how good she looks, yeah, he's already done. She could tell him that's anything, and he's gullible. He's going with whatever. That's why he didn't press the address, because he's probably never went out with a nice looking woman for that. You know, the woman he normally goes out with is a high 5. You know what I'm saying? Or a low 6. He's never been with maybe a woman that's a 7, between 7 and the 10. So now he's nervous on how to interact with her, and whatever she said, he's going to accept. So now what his first thing to do, cuss her out. Why? Why are you cussing her out? Because you didn't get what you wanted? Well, that's your fault. You fell for it. You fell for just the experience. And that's it. She probably couldn't have a whole lot of good conversation. I'm sure she could, because you should have got the address. You should already had the address already after the first day. Because you had no phone conversations. Y'all wasn't talking on the phone. You wasn't FaceTiming. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't doing none of that. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to ask, well, whatever town do you live in? How do you like it over? I ain't going to ask you the address, but I'm going to find out the area of town. So now I'm going to have an idea. So now when we're at the restaurant, I'm going to talk about that area of town again and see if she kind of come up with that address. You know what I'm saying? Do you have kids? What school do your kids go to? Different little things like that. You don't have to know the exact address, but if you know the area, you can do your own reconnaissance. And you can go search.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies specifically, watch out for Hank, because if you cross him,
no, because guys will ask you for your address flat out. I don't give my address out, but nobody try to,
But in fairness, again, fellas,
what's the town you live in, and like finessed it like that. Most guys just like, oh, what's your address? I want to see something.
You don't have to look. You don't have to ask for your body counts. Don't ask for the body count, because more likely the lady's not going to tell you the truth, right?
Nope.
How many relationships have you been in? How long were these relationships?
Mm-hmm.
When you broke up, did you go get back right out there, or was you taking a break trying to get healing yourself? And she said, "Nah, I didn't take no break. I was back out there." Or it lets me know there may be 2 or 3 more bodies you need to add on, because at that time she's looking for the get back on the dude. She trying to take it out on every man she could. If that means
I try to see how she walks.
Yeah, use them for some sex, then so be it. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Doc?
I said I try to see how she walks, but I was being silly. But I just want to highlight something. I think Hank's response is the intelligent response. When I listen to what you're saying, that's either seasoned thinking, that's intelligent, some next level stuff. I can get the draws when it's time to get it, right? I don't need to know your exact address. I can get the idea. I don't need to ask about the body count. I can tell by the way you're talking and what you say you do. And I think that's so critical, because those are the mindsets that people miss out on, and they go these directions. I wonder, and I can't remember from the text, did he say something about we're going to go back to your place?
Yeah,
he asked what she was doing later. He asked what she was. Hold on, I'll bring it back up. He asked what she was doing later, and she said, "Well, what are we doing after I'm off tomorrow? I go back to work Tuesday. Me too. We can meet. We can eat. Then you come over to my condo if you want. If you're down."
That's him saying it, right?
Yeah.
No, that was her. That was her. That was her saying that.
That was her. That was her.
She invited him.
Yeah, but hey, wait. I got something that we're glossing over, y'all. And let's just be real. First off, there's a song called "Girls Are Players Too."
Yeah.
And this was a friendly competition. And the way that and we gotta put it in that context, because after she did what she did, he showed his true colors. You bitch, you hoe, you this, that, and another. So you don't think she picked up on that and was like, okay, that's what we playing? All right, we gonna play. So
Right.
why are we overlooking the actual character that he displayed afterwards, which um reflected why she might have did it in the first place?
Possibly. I mean, he reflected how he deals with rejection. As long as things
Right
are
at the
going his
end.
way, that's not his character. And so when I think about what
What
again what Hink was saying, I think when you have that seasoned thinking, then a comment like we can go to my because I already asked you for your address, you said no, but now we can go back to my condo after we enjoy this delicious meal at Ruth Chris. But and I can't say what Hink would say, but that type of thinking that wouldn't have got me so excited that I needed to give you something because we get to go back to your condo. That's just okay. Nice to know, which would have
Mhm.
burst her bubble.
again, I agree with you, but let's be real. If you pick up and women are playing games, if you see that a man is gaming and he's just trying to get with you to get in your panties, you know it. You can tell because this ain't their first date. Let's be mindful. This is not their first date. They admitted this. So she already got a feel of where he's going and what he's trying. And we act like we don't notice that when men be trying that, when they are tricking, basically. And if she picked up on the tricking and she just tricked him, hey,
Right?
you know,
Or
no
could she have been
love,
insulted by
all's fair,
his?
and
Yeah. Sorry,
what
I
is
was gonna
that?
say, or could she have been insulted, thinking, "Oh, you think you're gonna get some ass? Jokes on you."
Well, that's the same thing. She basically tricking reverse. She tricked him.
Hmm.
You want to throw your money at me like like, oh, you just trying to buy me, huh? Okay, we gonna put your money where your mouth is because that's probably what it was. His mouth was blah 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 da 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 da,
So
and
Q
he
says
got caught out there.
this was her last meal on dude. So things like this definitely affect men in their future dating, right? So he's going to definitely be cautious of um bringing a woman to Ruth Chris, but what about the confidence level? Because I know men, are used to rejection, or they have to get used to it, or it's something that you guys factor in as part of, just your daily lives, not even just from women. It could be from a job, an interview, or anything. So, as far as that being a part of just how you think, does that turn into, do some men get angry as far as, I'm taking women out, they leaving me at the restaurant, or they're, how does a guy now, the topic that we have on the end part of this live is, how does a woman know if a guy is interested or eligible? So I'm going to actually ask this now for this topic. Because King has to go in a little bit too, and I want him to kind of be a part of that conversation. How does a man know when a woman is interested or when she's eligible?
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
to him, she was interested, and I would say he thought she was eligible by being able to bring her to
Mm.
Ruth Chris, or does he not know that yet?
Uh, in my opinion, if you're doing your due diligence on somebody, you're qualifying people all the time to, like I said earlier, what Coach Greg Adams talk about, like using your meat on somebody. And for
Mhm.
those of y'all who are new here, it's the money, energy, attention, and time. He, she, he didn't qualify her properly to make her eligible to have the best use of his resources spent on her. She was interested in him for sure, just like the next person that might be looking for a foodie meal or using somebody
Mhm.
would show interest to a dude. But from his point of view, it's wasting his resources by not properly ensuring that she's eligible for using his resources and stuff down the line. I think when you're looking at somebody, whether they're interested versus them being eligible, when you say you making somebody eligible for you, you're qualifying how you want to spend resources and time on that person.
Okay.
The question is, are you really interested in determining the difference between the two?
Hmm.
And often that's what it boils down to. If you're genuine with interest in a person, you're trying to find out if they're eligible. If you're not genuinely interested in that person, but you're genuinely interested in what you can get from that person, then you're trying to find out if she's interested.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it really depends on the approach. And I think a lot of times, I was speaking to somebody earlier this weekend, and I may mention that a lot of times women like to feel like they're in control of who they're giving their cookies to. And often men feel like, yo, once I get in your mind, once I get into the conversation where it turns into a sexual conversation, I really feel like I have the qualifications to get the cookies.
Hmm.
And all I have to do at that point is identify, just continue to play along. Because what I was sharing with her, I said, when you she said, well, I can talk sexually. I said, it's inappropriate to talk sexually if you're not intending to have sex. And if you do that, then the man says, okay, she's flirting with me. So yeah, you still have the power to where you can deny it, granted. But
Hmm.
at the point where you invite that or you remove that barrier of that intimate barrier, then the men, and men, correct me if I'm wrong, we feel like, okay, I can get it. The same way, because as soon as you put in your mind that he can get it, we can see it. We can hear
Yeah.
it. We can pick up on it. You ain't got to say it.
Yeah, because you're still engaging. You're not stopping it. You're not,
Right. Right.
not
We
allowing it
see
to
as soon
happen.
as y'all think he can get it, most of the time, if we're intuitive or we're paying attention, we pick up on when you said that or when you thought that,
Hmm.
which
What type of
puts the
relationships?
control back in our ball court. Go ahead, doctor.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm just wondering, like, what I think it depends on the category. What are we talking about? Trying to get some or a relationship?
That's why I said it depends on what the man is interested in.
Hmm.
Because that's when the ball comes back into our court. Because usually, if if you valued your cookies, then you stay in control. But when you present and or offer your cookies, you lose all of that control. And it depends on where
Mm.
the man point of view is. Like I said, is he interested, or is he trying to find out if she's eligible?
Eligible.
Okay, well, I have a
What was
challenge
that?
about the value because in today's society, or forever, society says the value is in her body. So if she feels like her her moneymaker or her value is in her cookies, and uh, that's all she really has to offer, then she might be willing to give that as her offering. So she's not going into a dumb.
Absolutely.
She's going into a
At what
believing for
expense?
some, for
At
some.
what expense? Right, but
For the ones
what
who are willing to get
expense?
pregnant, where the guy says, if you get pregnant, I'm not taking care of it. But if she believes her value is just in the fact by having someone, just having someone to be with, that's her sense of intimacy, feeling connected, rooted, loved. And if it means I got to give that up, okay. And especially if she's been, whatever word we can't use, but when she was younger, and now she's not used to that, but used to the neglect or the abuse or sacrifice. So, and again, that's probably a totally different percentage of women that we're talking about, but it's still very real. Because I mean, because if you look at the type of the character of a woman that's dating for dating, I mean, do we have the same type of conversation, or would we be having the same conversation for the woman of church And I know you can go shopping at church and find the same people, but I'm talking about, are we talking
Mhm.
about one of God, or are we talking about one of the streets? Are we talking about one about her paper and business, or one about her education? Are we talking about, I think that makes a difference. Are we talking about a wife,
I agree.
or are we talking about someone just looking for a connection? I'm good on a relationship. I don't need that. I just need someone I can connect with, and I'm good.
Well, I think that is where we're defining interested versus eligible, right? Because if someone is just interested, then they're not necessarily a wife, but you have to be eligible in order to become a wife. So I think it's just, ironing out all of the red tape that's in between interested and eligible. And I just wanted to bring that up here because we're going to be talking about that. We have a video that, um, tonight's conversation, shout out to them. They were having a conversation and one of the gentlemen brung it up. So I just wanted to bring it into this conversation a little bit. So that's just going to be a little bit of foreshadowing of what we're going to be watching in the last video. um but I am going to go on to the next video, and this is speaking to the men, and you guys definitely chime in and say if it's true or not. I did drop the link, so if anybody wants to join the conversation, you can do so. Definitely hit that like button, share the live, and definitely subscribe to the channel. I saw somebody said that they didn't get a notification. I have been hearing that. I'm not quite sure why you guys are not getting notified when I go live, but I'll check it out. I'll, talk to my social media people because I don't know why you're not getting notified. But I'm gonna look into that. But I thank you guys for being here, and we're gonna get into this next video here.
Need to know about men is that men are very sensitive because in being the giver, you are completely dependent on the receiver to make what you give valid. So if the woman does not appreciate or accept what he's giving and makes conditions like, don't give me that, give me something else, or don't give it this way, give it some other way, it frustrates the masculine instinct of the man, and they withdraw and just give up.
So the question is, how important is appreciation as the giver? A lot of times men go to work, you guys do what you have to do for the family because you're men, and that's what you are the head. You're the head of your families. Y- that's what y'all do. Y'all work, y'all protect, y'all provide, all that good stuff, right? But when you are up against someone who is not necessarily appreciating you, or every time you try to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and they're like, oh, don't do it that way, do it this way, do it this way, do it that way. How important is that appreciation as the giver? Because a lot of times you guys do this out of love. However, it doesn't, you probably don't feel love when someone is telling you what you're doing is not necessarily what they want or how they want it. So how important is appreciation as the giver?
There's a lot of things that guys do that I think go severely underappreciated. To answer your question, I think it's very important to understand those unappreciated things and understand it quickly, or else you're going to have a guy wonder, why the hell is he with you in the first place? All right. So as the giver, as the doer, look, men aren't going out here doing things for validation. They're typically doing things because to them it's what needs to be done. Okay. So a little appreciation can go a long way. If you're out here huffing and puffing about, every single thing, the moment that he comes back home and not being that guy's piece, see how long that actually lasts with you and how far that'll get you.
Now you
But
said
why?
there are, oh,
So go ahead, Precious.
well, you said that there are a lot of things that you think that there are things that do go unnoticed. What are some things that you would say are commonly unnoticed or underappreciated?
Oh, all right. So I'm gonna throw a quick one out there. So, like, eh, like parenting styles. All right. There's a lot of conversation around the way that a father parents. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that the doc, because this hits his field, perfectly. With just it, you can use your eyeballs and notice the way that kids are when a father's not in the house, and when um they're a father's not present versus when one is. And I think a lot of that goes to how, if they're a masculine man, just do the things that they do naturally with leadership traits, structure, and things around that nature. So it's hard for me to succinctly say what that stuff is, but I hope that maybe like just that one example kind of lends to what I was saying, just with the things that guys do that just go under appreciated.
I say if you tie that string to what is the value of appreciation, why do I need appreciation? What is that string attached to? And do I need that same level of appreciation at work? You know, do I talk do I talk to those people the same way I talk to my woman? Do I do I make it known they don't pay me extra the same way I make it known to her? You don't appreciate shit that I do, huh? But do I bring that same type of vigor to work? Why is it so much more personal? And then again, that makes sense. That is my woman, so she should know, blah, 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 blah. And the job is a structure, blah, 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 is a business. But what is that string attached to? Because if you come from a background where you're the man, manly man, and you're a hard worker, then that string is really attached to hard work, and you can give a damn about appreciation. But if you come from a background where it's about emotions, or you feel like you're the victim, then if you kind of stay in that victim mode, you want to be validated through appreciation for all that you do. But is all that you do because that's what you do, or is it really that's your honey, that's your magnet, that's your chick magnet, that you are a doer, a doer, a doer, provide, 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 which will bring you attention, will bring you intimacy, will bring you likes, and that's what that's for. Subconsciously, that's what that's for, to bring it in. So when it's not validated or acknowledged, you feel double hurt. Because I did all that to be, it seems, here kind of the catchphrases. Man, I swear to God, all my life, it seems like no one ever listens to me. If you hear that all my life, that means it's not just now in the relationships, and no one ever listens to me. No one ever appreciates me. How many times does it take to know that you're an idiot and to not keep doing the same thing? But if you hear no one ever, then that string is attached to some self-esteem, some self-doubt, some victimization, some other stuff, and their kindness. If they didn't feel heard as a youngster, then they're overt now to be heard. Overt, funny, comedian, this, that, and that. So I'm not saying everyone has this wicked purpose to behavior, but as far as why they need the validation, where does that come from?
Well, to answer the question as well, and I'm gonna push back a little to what you just said, Doctor. Um, to answer the question, that's subjective. Appreciation is subjective. Uh, and so, yes, appreciation, humanity. The pushback is that sometimes doctors and therapists, y'all evaluate too much, to where you can sit there and come up with a reason for everything. Bad behavior, you can come up with a reason to make it good. And no, it's bad behavior. And if you want to, and if we're going to overlook that to make someone else feel good about their bad behavior, it then defeats the purpose. Yes, it can be attached to something, but how about it's just bad, not showing appreciation can be just the bad behavior or the selfishness to the person who's not showing it, not the
Uh,
person who's identifying it. Because yes,
yeah, I hear you.
you can identify when somebody doesn't appreciate. And to your
But
point,
most people don't identify why. Most people don't understand why they don't appreciate what they're
I
attached
agree.
to. Hmm?
I'm not disputing that, but the point being is that when it's not acknowledged that it's unappreciative, then it's difficult to determine why. If you're saying, oh, the person, as you said, oh, the person is seeking appreciation. No, the person is kind, as you said. The person is
Hmm.
kind. And that's why it's funny because I personally, and maybe this is a trigger for me because when people call me sweet, oh, that's so sweet. I'm like, nah, I ain't sweet. I'm nice. He said, well, why you say that? I said, the difference between sweet and nice is when you're sweet, people feel like they can take advantage.
Well, then that's your trigger right there. That's the string. So you don't want to be taken advantage of.
But that's the truth. That's the truth. I don't mind.
You
I'm
don't
like,
mind being
I
taken
know
advantage
how
of?
to, I put it this way. I don't mind being nice. And when you're nice, uh, people sometimes take that,
Then you
people
shouldn't get triggered.
sometimes,
If you don't mind
I,
being nice, then you shouldn't get
w-
triggered.
wait.
Go ahead.
Being nice and being used are two different things, and there's a fine line between the two. And when I recognize that it's being used, then I address it.
Hmm.
But if it's being nice, okay, cool.
Well,
It's
you're being
very
nice too.
clear, everyone.
Well, that should tell you right there. There's potential for someone to use you if you're being nice. Period.
And I don't mind. Again, I don't mind being used
Huh?
when
You double talking now. You
y-
double talking. Well, Precious,
not not
what
at
did you
all.
hear?
I heard that if you're being called sweet, that means you're being taken advantage of, and you don't want to be taken advantage of. But then you said you would rather be called nice, and you don't mind being taken advantage of.
No. That's what you heard. But what I meant is that first off, the reason why I address sweetness is because the mentality of all that's so sweet um can lead and bleed into somebody feeling like it's something that can be a weakness, so to speak, or something that somebody can take advantage of you. Now, the reason why I say I don't mind being used, because I don't see my kindness. Like, for example, someone can come up to me and ask me for $100,000,
Mm.
and I give it to them, and they
Let me hold
squander it or
some. Let
don't
me
pay
hold
it
some.
back.
Right?
And they squander it and don't take it back, and whatever they do with it, and I'll take that as an L because they asked me, and I extended that. But if somebody came up and said, "Give me $1," I'm going to automatically react like, "Yo, what you give you $1?" Because now you feel like you're threatening me, and it's not something of a choice of mine. I'm like, okay, I don't mind giving you something if you ask me and I gave it to you. I'll take that L. So that's why I said, and I might have found out you used me. It was I'm like, I might, I ain't gonna take it as kindly or as graciously as I'm saying it. But ultimately, I'm like, oh, you know what? They asked me, I was being nice and considerate, and I gave it to them. Sean, your L, your fault. But if they came up to me and was like, "Yo, give me $1," I don't know why, but I would not give that dollar, but I might give
Well,
that
that's like getting
100,000.
like somebody coming up to you,
That
like, give me all your
that's my
money.
point. That's my point. So if they ask me and I gave it to them, I don't feel like I'm robbed.
Okay.
But if they manipulated me, or told me something different, or played on quote unquote sweetness, I I feel like I'm robbed, and it might trigger me.
So you
Hmm.
So I try to avoid it by saying, "Hey, just call me nice." I understand the difference. I'm saying, "Yo, just it's nice." Because I always tell people, and I said it on this platform. I know how to be an asshole. I just don't like being one. So I enjoy being kind. I enjoy being kind. I enjoy being nice. but don't take it to where, oh, he's just that pushover. All right, you'll find out the hard way. And I don't like having to help people understand that. I'd rather just say it up front, hey, don't call me. Just, I'm nice, but I'm not sweet. I'm nice, but I'm just not sweet. Just giving you that heads up ahead of time so that in the future, in case you feel like, and this is, I guess, the play on the word sweet, in case you feel like something sweet over here, you're going to find out the hard way. And I don't like having to show people that.
Mm.
Then you don't
Does that
sound so
make
nice after all.
okay?
But I don't
okay.
want to psychoanalyze you, but I'll put it on something else.
Please
for
do
me.
though. No,
I'm
no,
not-
psychoanalyze.
No, because then now the YouTube will fill up. So I'll put it on me. I like control. If I'm being nice all day long, I love it. But I am being nice. If I'm being kind or sweet or being taken advantage of, what's missing is me being in control of it. I feel played. I didn't get to orchestrate it. I didn't get to organize it. You could have got 100,000 from me if I gave it to you. Or you swindled me or tricked me or played me. It takes away the element of control. And so I feel played because I was out of control. And then my last piece, if this were me, I would also consider, and I do consider, now I don't want to be robbed, and maybe because I'm foolish. I'm a bit of a foolish risk taker, not because I just want to do it, but like if someone was like, "Hey man, give me a damn dollar," you were saying you want a dollar? Well, duh, give me the goddamn. You were saying you want a dollar? No, that could lead to me getting socked in the mouth and all kind of stuff. But here's the deal: I'm willing to give you the dollar. See, I think everyone can benefit from something. Everyone wants something. Everyone. So I'm not nice to one group and not nice to another. If the $100,000 person wants it, and then the dollar person, I don't feel insulted by the dollar person. They have needs, but the criminal. Now here's where I get into my head. This is where I'm overthinking, because every behavior has a purpose, and every criminal is after something, and every non-criminal is after something. So if you get $1 or 100,000 from me, as long as I feel like I did it, cool. If you swindle me out of 100 or swindle me out of $1, that's when it hurts more. So that's where I'll leave it.
And you absolutely correct. I do like controlling what is painful to me or not. And if that's my way of controlling not to be hurt, then I'll take full responsibility and accountability for that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that could be what it is. And that's why I said I'm glad you psychoanalyze yourself. But
Yeah. Well, it's safer that way. I mean, it's safer.
Right, I
I
was
mean,
gonna say you got to do it on you, Dr. Nicumbe.
yeah, me, yeah. But for me, I feel safer that way. Like I can laugh at the end of the day if I got played, but my hand was in it. I played like, oh my gosh, they got me
Mhm.
at the restaurant. She sends me the picture of the Chris Ruth.
Ruth
I'm like,
Chris.
oh my God, she got me. But I'll stay there and enjoy the meal. And send her a picture right back to my, you didn't even get the peach cobbler. But I played a hand in that getting played. If I straight up had really pure intentions, because I like what you said earlier, you didn't use these words, but I think you were saying they were playing cat and mouse, right? They were going to outwit each other.
Mhm.
So if I'm in that type of game and she got me, damn it. But if I'm in that game and she got me, like, damn it, like, dang, she won. But if I went into it with pure intentions and haven't learned from the last couple of dates or learned from the whatever, or I didn't get an address and I'm trying to respect that. Maybe she's like the real precious. She's not going to give me an address. It's too soon, right? Too soon for an address. And why do you want the address for? Who comes over at 2 a.m. with that? What's the address for? So if I'm really thinking I'm respecting that and blah, 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 and then I get played, that's when it hurts more. I don't know if I'm at my stage now, I wouldn't be angry, but like, oh, that bitch. I mean, she got me. That was all right. Like, but what did I do? Like, what did I do? Because I had pure intentions. And that's when it's not even about them anymore. I start questioning, like, what did I do? I don't know if anyone in the chat does that. Like you start
Mhm.
questioning, like like I was trying to be that good person. I was trying to be, and so why? And that hurts more kind of up here, this challenge of like, do I always have to get fucked over? Or do I always have to, like, why am I always the one to get played? But if you notice, there are those words again. Why am I always? Why me? Why?
Yeah.
So, and I'll work on
And
trying to stay in that
yeah,
psyche part out of it.
that's funny that you say that because yeah, like I said, yeah, analyzation of what the circumstance that I was presenting is probably very accurate. Not even probably, it's very accurate. I'd rather be in control of my feelings as opposed to let my feelings be in control of me. And so that's why ahead of time I try to be ahead of it by saying the sweet versus nice
Mhm.
because I'm trying to get in front of any possibilities. And because I'm a kind person uh naturally and I enjoy being kind, I understand this and I understand some of the repercussions behind doing it in a lot of different circumstances, especially in this day and time. So I am trying to be ahead of, circumstances that can go left. I am trying to be very genuine from my standpoint so that one, I don't hurt someone, and two, they don't hurt me. So to your point, yes, I am preparing for avoiding the hurt that can come to me because I'm not absent to being hurt. I'm not absent to where it's a possibility of being hurt because of my kindness. So to avoid that, I try and be upfront and attack it. You said something. I'm sorry.
So I said, oh, I love that. I love that that's your stance. I'm almost the same where I'm a little different in the sense uh, I'm probably known. I'm not probably. I'm what I'm told. What I'm told. How I'm known. Sweet, kind, thoughtful, sweet, kind. Hmm. But I don't seem to have the benefits of all the people who are so kind. I'm thoughtful, but I don't have the $1 million. I don't have this. I don't have that. But I'm where I'm opposite is I actually tell people I'm not nice. I'm not kind, or don't let that fool you. You know what I am? I'm a survivor. That's what I am, and I feel power in doing so. And this is where I can get my power back. This is how I get my feel good. This is how I get my power back. All the things I do, the secret Santas, all these different things, and people are like, oh my gosh, and they cry, and you're just a, and I'm listening like, yeah, I liked doing it, but because I didn't get any gifts as a kid. So this is me living vicariously. This is me when I'm going to the Philippines or India and I'm taking village kids to the city and they've never even seen a building like a town, like a escalator before. And I'm there. They don't see it, but I can feel it where my horns are coming up. I'm like, get on the escalator, you can do it. And they're like, ah, and I'm like, you can do it. But it's fun and it feels good. But deep inside, I walk away with, that was one less kid. Just one less kid to feel, potentially feel, that they weren't loved or liked or appreciated. Everyone outside of me is going to see that was kind, the best thing in the world. And I thank you. But then I'm brutally honest and say that felt good for me. And I hope it felt good for them. And I double hope it's in the future that they recognize it. In the future. The little kid who feels good now, awesome. Get out of here, little kid. It's 20 years from now when they can pay it forward. Some stranger dude, and I don't mean stranger danger, I'm talking about some stranger dude came to our village and took us all to the mall to see a movie, a cinema, and cleared out the theater so only us 10 kids can see it. That pay it forward. That's kind of my feel good. So anyway, my point was, yes, people are kind, they are nice, but there's always a string to every single behavior. Does someone like me need to see it? No. That's why I say I'm cursed. I'm screwed. I'm damned in that area. But please don't forget, even in our kindness, there still has to be a payoff somehow. This platform, all these platforms, what are they for? Why are we teaching people? If we're not getting monetized or paid or any of these things, why are we doing it? Are we that much of a helper and a healer and lover and kindness and blah blah blah? Are we that much? There's a payoff somehow. It doesn't always mean wicked, but there's a payoff.
So true, so true. We have some thoughtful, kind, and compassionate men on the panel tonight. Thank you guys. We're going to transition to our last video here. I named this the interested versus the eligible because, again, on tonight's conversations, shout out to Ace Metaphor on tonight's conversations. I had the pleasure to go see in one of his live shows. Was it last year or maybe the year before? Also, there's a man in this actual video that I'm going to show. He is the second man that is going to speak, and his name is Mike Reed. I met him. He's actually a poet from Philly. And the way that I met him, I'm going to just preface this by saying serving will always get you more. That's just one of my mottos because I've served before. But serving will always get you more. So I was in Philly one weekend. My girlfriend was having her bridal, was that her or a birthday brunch at a restaurant in Philly. And so I'm like, oh, I'm in Philly. I don't necessarily feel like going home yet. What can I do? I didn't want to get into no trouble or anything. I just wanted to go to an event. And I knew that he was having an event in Philly that weekend. And I had never been to any of his, he's been doing this thing called Just Words for years in Philly. I remember my friends back in the day used to go to his open mics a long time ago, long time ago. And I had just never made it out. Well, I was in Philly and I'm like, I don't feel like going home. So I didn't have a ticket to his event, but I did have his contacts through Instagram. So I DM'd him and I said, I want to come to your show. Are there any tickets left? He was like, no, there are no tickets left. He was like, but if you want to work my table, you can work my table. And what that consisted of was laying out his merchandise, selling his books, selling his merch for him, and being able to actually see the show for free. So because I was willing to serve, I got to meet him. I got some free merch. I got to work his table. I got to see the whole show for free. And that was just because I was like, hey, I'm in Philly. I want to come see the show. I ain't got no ticket. What's up? And he's like, hey, look, if you want to work, you can work. You know what I mean? I had no problem doing that because it's, you know, kind of what I do for my for my corporate job. So working the table and trade shows is kind of what I do. So it was kind of like it just worked out. He's the author of many books. I got some, like I said, I got free merch when I was there. The Boyfriend book. Okay. Just Words 2. He has a Just Words 1 as well. And then this one is called Dear Woman. So he's a poet. Again, he's a poet, a local poet. I like to support those who I know have something going on and, you know, in this entrepreneurial, you know, world. I got to meet him. So that was just my story with meeting the guy in this video. But we're gonna transition to this video because they talk about being interested. You have to know the difference between someone who is interested and someone who is eligible. And I wanted to get you guys' take on it. Simon, I see you in the back. I do need to see your face to know that you are a real person. If I don't see your face, you cannot grace the stage. Okay. So we're going to get to this video here.
Conversation, bro. But what I attract is not I attract because I'm attractive. What I accept is a whole different conversation, bro. But what I attract is not a reflection of my status.
That's the last part. That's the last part of self-work because you.
So that's Mike the poet. So the one guy says, hey, look, I'm attractive. So I attract everything. That doesn't necessarily, you know, really tell you much about what I attract, because if you're attractive, you're going to attract a lot. And so Mike is coming in talking about the last part of self-work.
Can build this beautiful house that's protected with fence, but if you don't have discernment, then the whole thing is failed. So the last part of that self-work before you go out into the field is being able to tell the difference between the interested and the eligible. Between the interested and the eligible. And that's not a conversation that the eligible are going to tell you, because they're just interested. The last part, you can love yourself to death. You can elevate yourself to death. But if you don't have that discernment when you open this door and you let these people in between the interested and the eligible, you're going to miss it.
All righty.
Ooh.
All right, Simon, hi, how are you? I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't remember your name from last time. How are you? So what do you guys think of that video? You had to figure out who is interested and who is eligible, because if not, you might miss it.
Ooh. He hit it. And it's so true. You know, we speaking on it briefly earlier. But interested and eligible are two separate things, and having that discernment is a difficult thing at times, especially in this day and age,
Mhm.
because a lot of people disguise eligible by expressing interest,
Mhm.
and you will get fooled because really then they're interested in the the outcome of a relationship, the benefits of a relationship, but not eligible for the responsibility that comes along with it.
Mhm. Okay,
So,
Dr. Nakambe, what makes someone? What's the difference between interested and eligible? You know, hypothetically, if you guys had daughters, I don't know if anybody has daughters on the panel, you know, what would you tell her as far as, you know, going out in the dating world, you know, and you use these terms eligible and interested, you know, what would you tell her? What makes a man eligible? What makes him
Mhm.
interested? You know, what's the difference?
Well, what's the job? So is the job husband material? Is the job best friend material? So whatever the qualifying job is for, to see if they qualify for, and to see if they have the character, the ability. What is the ability? Not just lip service, the ability. Someone who's interested may not really be qualified for the position, but they're interested. Do you have the capacity or patience to teach and to help mold and get them there? Or do you understand that's as far as they'll be able to go, because they're only interested and they'll have to do the work, invest in whatever to get to the qualifying spot?
Okay.
Yeah.
Simon.
I think like interested is like, you know, like you're just walking around the mall and you get a notification about like a new shop that's popping up, and you know, let's take Apple for example. Apple, every time they release a new iPhone, people are interested, and they have literally people lined up on, and we know what the stores are. We know like that we may have had the previous iPhone, but yet we do this thing. We're gonna line up. Okay. What's the next one? So
What's the difference between someone being interested and someone being eligible? So you gave the cell phone analogy of being interested.
Eligibility is something that you're entitled to. So if you're just interested in something, you're not necessarily entitled to it. It's something you're expecting within your own lineage. So it's not, you know, that's kind of different to just going, oh, I want something. I have this conversation all day long with my daughter. Like, she's crazy. Like, she turns around, I want this, I want that, because like I've just provided everything for her. I want. That's the I have to sort of like check her on it.
How would you advise her on dating and being able to differentiate someone who's interested in her and someone who is eligible to date and potentially marry? How would you advise her on the difference between the two, since you have provided everything for her? How would you tell her to now look at these men out here that's not really providing anything for her? How does she know which one is interested and which one is eligible?
That's a real difficult question, and I appreciate the question because it's very valid. The thing is like what we miss in this modern day age is just being able to sort of go, okay, there comes a point where you have to sort of gain advice from your family members, and there is no way any guy is getting through the door without my consent with my daughter or any other of my children. Like, that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because it's like, what, if you're the other person, let's take for example, you're the other person, and you're pulling up to the doorstep and you're going, okay, I want to go on this date, and I'm like, have you actually thought that this person comes from something? It doesn't need to be too much. It just needs to be something. So unless, and I anticipate in the future, like I'm going to have a man that knocks on my doorstep and goes ding, 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 or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm taking your daughter out on a date. I'm like, well, okay, well, what are you bringing to the program? Because it is a whole program in my realm. Not necessarily everybody's realm, but my realm it is. And they need to be part of that. And if I can't fit them into it, it's over. I don't really care in that sort of way. In the same way that I don't care if my daughter is naive enough to not understand that if you run across a road and there's cars, you may get knocked over.
Okay, Sean, how about for you? How would you advise your daughter who's eligible and who is just interested?
Well, I love the analogies that the two gentlemen just gave, using Apple and using, I believe it was a job, because everybody's interested, but do you qualify? Like the eligible is using the Apple is a perfect example. You're interested in getting the Apple phone, but are you eligible to pay for it? Are you eligible to take on the responsibilities of the payments where necessary, to have the plan that is necessary? And that's kind of similar to what I was saying earlier when I said, everybody's interested in the benefits that come with a relationship, but nobody's eligible, or few are eligible to take on the responsibilities that come along with it. And that's kind of what I share with my daughter, is that interest is easy. Being eligible is where you now have challenges. And if he's eligible, then first sign of eligibility, as Simon said, is to meet your father. And if in fact you can't come and meet my father, then that eligibility factor then is on your ownness. And unfortunately, a couple of my daughters have taken that route of getting it on their own. And so where that where that leads them is I have no idea. It's like you went ahead and you purchased you took on a iPhone and you didn't have a job, or you didn't have the money in the bank, and you just felt that you was gonna do it. So when it comes to where that bill starts showing up, or something that you gotta your iPhone breaks and you have to go and try and see if it can be fixed, and you don't have that insurance, which will be in this example that validation from your dad or your family members to help you vet a person outside of your loving willing eyes, then that's where now your eligibility as far as life comes into play, because now we have to now fix a problem that you created by trying to embrace the interest instead of vetting for. I mean, vetting and eligibility can be synonymous. And vetting shouldn't be the sole responsibility of my daughter. And I share that with her. Now, she doesn't always take me up on an offer to help her vet because for whatever reason, my daughter just told me recently, you just got to let me be. I said, you just got to let me go through it, Dad. And I said, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, that's the reality. It's unfortunate that you can't learn um, through you have to learn through experience as opposed to through advice or suggestions, or as they would say, guidance. So go ahead, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, I do have to let you go through it. The issue is that I'm trying to avoid that complication, but unfortunately you're not embracing or trusting that I'm able to help you. So therefore, now your eligibility is only up to you and solely up to you. When in fact, I wish that more women would take the time and consideration to include their family members, whether it be their fathers, brothers, uncles, etc., or all of the above, their village, to help vet them instead of their loving feeling of what the abyss, the newness, because newness is easy. Everything is happy when it's new. So.
Okay, I
That's
just
true.
take a
Talk
bite
to
of
me.
this app. Take a bite of this apple. You guys are talking about iPhones and apples. Take a bite of this. So I love that what both of you said. I just want to add for the ladies or for the daughters. I guess if you're a lady, you're a daughter, but for the whatever, telling our daughters, here's something also to consider. Because the person who makes you feel like, oh, you're just another iPhone and I can get an iPhone, using that analogy. And so Sean hinted to it, but I want to use this term, the credit that it takes. And we're talking about that you need to qualify with certain credit. So there's your Verizons and whoever else. Or we're talking about going to Cricket Mobile, which if that's where you need to go, no problem. But then what's the difference? So I think that qualifying piece is huge. Not everyone will qualify. And how much time do you invest or waste, or whatever term you want to use? How much do you put into it before you recognize that they qualify?
Totally correct.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you guys have been saying. Someone who's interested will definitely, show that they're interested, but someone who is eligible will prove to you that they're eligible, in my opinion. I think someone who is eligible will definitely, be confident. We talked about, one of the number one traits a man can have, and that's confidence. But I like when you guys said that, how does she become eligible? Well, she has to meet me first. Or how does he become eligible? He has to meet, he has to go through my pretty much my spectacles. I have to see him. I have to fill him out. I have to, definitely see where his head is at, which is very important because you as a father, like you said, Simon, you have a program you've provided for your daughter. So, to have someone, you want to make sure that that covering that you have over her is being passed on to someone who can also cover her in the capacity that her father did, even if it's not the same exact thing or whatever. He still has that, he's
Ooh.
eligible. He's eligible,
Oh, you're getting tasty now. Okay. Like, no other man is gonna be me.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't happening. No.
No other man should be you. You're the father. When she gets married, that he will be her husband.
I don't give a shit about that. I'm just saying, like, no. Like, she could do what she wants, and she'll probably end up on the streets. And that's just facts. Like, because I take care of the women I embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is what I found that has been kind of interesting in this whole journey is the fact that it's almost played out. It's like when I first came on YouTube, right? I was just some guy, and I got dropped into a link. I didn't even know what the link was, and I came in, and I was going through certain things. Kevin Samuels was the guy that actually turned around and really made me think about stuff, because it was just like, right, okay, you're going through the same thing I'm going through. Consequently, I've sort of like tuned into different personalities and all different types of people.
Okay.
And it's actually sort of turned out interestingly enough to a point where it's like what he was talking about is actual factual real. I mean, I had a minute to sort of think about it, but I was just like, I was like, I don't know, but yo,
are we talking about Kevin Samuels and what exactly is he talking about? That is,
we're talking about what your topic is, which I try to stay on topic because it's like, the interested versus the eligible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an eligible bachelor. I could do what the hell I want. Now, that doesn't mean I've got like all females around my house. I've got people around my house. I've got all this shit going on. I'm a father, so I'm responsible. Although, if I was a single person, maybe I could be locking up the party. I could be doing some sort of stuff.
Okay, Simon. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We are going to be moving towards the final thoughts though, because that was our last video. So we had a pretty packed show this evening. We showed an icebreaker video of a man acting like he forgot his girlfriend's anniversary. She spazzed out, which really didn't do much for him emotionally because she said some things that she can't really take back. We also showed a video, or we also read messages of a woman kind of stringing a man along, got him to take her to Ruth Chris, and then she just left on him. And then we also showed a video of a man saying that men are sensitive and that as givers, you guys need appreciation. And when, a woman is constantly saying, hey, I want it this way, I want it this way, I want it this way, and they're not necessarily appreciating what you are doing for them, men eventually leave from that situation. And then this last video of the interested versus the eligible, you guys definitely broke it down very well in regards to what makes someone just interested as versus what makes them eligible. So I really do appreciate you guys' input on all of the topics, but we are going to move towards final thoughts. Simon, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Sean, and then we'll go to Dr. Nakumbe. So any final thoughts? You came in towards the end. So any final thoughts, I guess, for the last video that we just did, or any part that you came in on?
Yeah, no, that's cool. I don't think many men understand what eligibility is. I think like just words. Do you get what I'm saying? Just speaking on it is kind of interesting. And this is where women become really disenfranchised, because like, you know, if you can't like hold a woman down, then you have a huge problem ahead of you. Like, you can't get into relationships and claim to you know be able to provide anything if you do not understand what eligibility is. Like, so eligibility is a standpoint that I think just most black men and black women need to understand. You know, it's not a big deal. So I struggle with this personally because, you know, I've gone through lengths and I've done certain things, and I continue to do certain things. And the thing is like, the only people that acknowledge what I've actually done is white people. And I have a huge problem with that. So in saying that, that's my final thoughts.
Okay, maybe you and Dr. Nakumbe need to, you know, exchange numbers of the show. You know, Sean, you're next. How about for you? What are your final thoughts?
Can I be part of that show? Can I be part of that show?
The free channel.
Oh man. Final thoughts. There was so much that was covered tonight. And my final thoughts are the cycle continues. And I'm tired of saying it because it does. And there are a lot of the roots to what the cycles are. And that's where the doctor helps us out with tremendously, as well as you. And these conversations help us out tremendously. But as much as we identify roots, we identify even resolutions at times, we don't identify people practicing it. And it's an unfortunate reality, and the cycle continues. Like I just shared with you guys when you asked about my daughter, and I'm like, yo, why are you gonna make the same mistakes that I've made? This is what I'm trying to avoid. And I share this with her very clearly and adamantly. But yet the cycle continues because she gets into, into the world, and the world convinces her that the opinion that we speak of and some of the suggestions that we extend are not popular, or don't seem what everyone else is doing, and the cycle continues. We said it's appreciation. The reason why appreciation is necessary, because I've appreciated people more than they appreciated themselves. And I try to bring that to their attention, but the cycle continues. It's almost like I have to abuse people who have been abused for them to accept love that I really want to extend from that onset. And the cycle continues. So at this point, I sound repetitive, uh, because I see it so regularly. I see it so significantly, especially if we're speaking out here in these social media streets. But the social media is just a reflection of the actual streets, and the cycle continues. So how do we stop the cycle?
Yeah.
Doctor, it's on you, brother.
That was deep.
Mhm.
much salute to you for sharing that. Thank you. And this, which leads me to my answer, part of my final thoughts. I think it's important to know how we show up, how we qualify, what we're interested in, and what we need to do to actually qualify. I think both of those help us make informed decisions. Be willing to venture, be willing to journey, be willing to learn, be willing to fail, make mistakes, fall. Be willing to have fun in the process, but not so much fun that you eventually realize you're being made fun of. Don't be the fool, right? But at the same time, be open to try some foolish things. Be mindful of your relationship when we think about that clip of the jokes and where people are going for the likes. At what expense? At what expense do we take the relationship? At what expense do I take your life? Do I take your intelligence? Do I take your money? Do I take your resources? At what expense and what limit do I take that to in the name of feel good for me or feel good for social media? And I'll land with this. I think one of the significant things, if we're not in tune with who we are, and I don't mean the super psychological stuff like really getting in our heads, I mean some basic understanding of who we are, then I wonder if we're just attaching to what could be, just attaching to these fantasies, attaching to what social media promises us. And then we're not really attaching to who we are authentically are and what we truly want. So we're following these missions, putting ourselves in vulnerable position to get played, such as the Ruth Chris situation, to want to play, such as the Ruth Chris situation. And how much do you want to play the game versus how much do you really want to become eligible by first knowing what you're interested in, learning what qualifies you, and then go for it. That's my landing.
All righty. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who was here. The actual King Smith had to leave early, but I always appreciate him. He's my co-host on Monday evenings. I appreciate Hank for coming through, Simon, Sean, and of course, Dr. Nakumbe and anyone else who participated in the group chat. I appreciate you guys for watching. This evening is sponsored by JE Creative Hosting.com. So if you guys are looking for a website, a new website to or a hosting site to host your website, definitely get in contact with them. There is a code HCM22 for a special discount. So definitely get in contact with them when you have the opportunity. Guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming through and giving your, your male perspective. That's what we have. That's why we have these on Monday nights. So everyone can hear from you, and they're not just hearing it from a woman's perspective, and they're like, oh, she don't know what she's talking about, and she thinks she know, and she don't know. I enjoy just listening to you guys' perspective as well. It teaches us all, it gives us all something to think about. So I really do appreciate you. Today is Monday, so we'll be back live again Wednesday. So guys, definitely join us on Wednesday. And I wanted to ask a favor of you guys. So a lot of people always compliment me on, the things that I wear and things like that. There are some other things that I have on my Amazon storefront, like some things that I purchased on Amazon to get me started in podcasting, which I did that way before YouTube. I did some stuff on Facebook, some tech stuff that I purchased on Amazon, but I have a storefront for those who are interested in the things that I wear, some jewelry that I wear sometimes that I get off of there, shoes. Like I said, I'll have more things for the men. There's pretty much just like tech stuff for y'all, some health and wellness things on there as well. But I'm dropping my Amazon storefront. If you guys don't mind, definitely just go in and check it out. Again, a lot of it right now is for the women. So if you're looking to buy a woman a gift, you can click on some of that stuff. But I'm looking to add more things for the men soon. But it's just an Amazon storefront. Like I said, a lot of people always compliment me. I get a lot of books off of Amazon. And there's just things that I just need, quick, that I don't feel like shopping for in the store that I get off of Amazon. Everybody, shops on Amazon. So it's just a storefront that I created. It's just a one-click type of thing, and you guys can search the Amazon storefront and see what you're interested in. Like I said, a lot of it right now is dedicated to women, because I get a lot of compliments on some things that I wear, some bathing suits that are in there that I have. It's summertime, so definitely go in there and check it out. I'll be adding some more things, but I appreciate you guys if you just go check it out. Just go check it out. But again, I appreciate you guys. We'll be live again on Wednesday. I'm trying to think, am I forgetting any? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you guys something. Hopefully I'll be monetized soon, y'all. It's been a long time coming. We'll see. Say a prayer for me tonight, y'all. I need all of y'all to just be praying for me. And if it don't happen, we just gonna try again. That's all. But I really do appreciate you guys. Have a great evening. And as I say on every show, be real with yourself so you can be real with others. You guys have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.